Bikers thought they could bully this 93-year-old veteran. They were dead wrong. Arthur "Artie" Henderson, a man whose 93 years on this earth had weathered him like a piece of driftwood smoothed by the relentless tide, sat on his porch swing, the rhythmic creak a comforting counterpoint to the symphony of birdsong that filled the air. The afternoon sun, warm and golden, bathed him in its gentle glow, casting long shadows that danced across the well-tended lawn. Artie, despite the weight of his years, remained a beacon of vitality, his spirit as bright and resilient as the vibrant petunias that adorned his flower beds. His face, a roadmap of time, was etched with the lines of a life well lived, each wrinkle a testament to laughter shared, tears shed, and battles fought. His eyes, though faded to a pale blue, still held a mischievous twinkle, a spark of youthful energy that belied his advanced age. Artie, a man who had witnessed the best and worst of humanity, had emerged from the crucible of life with an unwavering optimism, a deep-seated belief in the goodness of people, and a quiet determination to live each day to the fullest. He had always been a man of routine, his days a carefully orchestrated symphony of activities. Every morning, he would rise with the sun, his joints protesting with the creaks and pops of an aging orchestra, and tend to his garden, coaxing life from the soil, nurturing the vibrant blooms that brought him so much joy. His afternoons were spent reading, his mind a voracious consumer of knowledge, or engaging in lively conversations with his neighbors, his stories of wartime experiences and life lessons captivating his audience. Artie, a veteran of World War II, carried the weight of his experiences with a quiet dignity. He had witnessed the horrors of war, the senseless loss of life, the brutality that humans were capable of inflicting upon each other. But he had also witnessed extraordinary acts of courage, selfless sacrifices, and the unwavering bonds of brotherhood forged in the fires of adversity. He had returned from the war a changed man, his youthful innocence replaced by a profound appreciation for life, a deep-seated empathy for his fellow humans, and an unwavering commitment to making the world a better place. He had dedicated his life to service, volunteering at the local Veterans Hospital, sharing his stories with younger generations, and offering a helping hand to anyone in need. Artie, a man of quiet strength and unwavering optimism, was a beloved member of his community, his presence a comforting constant, his wisdom a guiding light. He was a living testament to the resilience of the human spirit, a reminder that age is no barrier to living a life filled with purpose and meaning. One sunny afternoon, as Artie was watering his prized petunias, their vibrant hues a stark contrast to the weathered wood of his porch. A rumble echoed down the street, growing louder with each passing moment, like a storm gathering on the horizon. A group of bikers, clad in leather jackets and adorned with tattoos, roared past, their motorcycles spewing black smoke, their loud engines shattering the peaceful tranquility of the neighborhood, their presence a jarring intrusion into Artie's peaceful sanctuary. Artie watched them disappear around the corner, a frown creasing his brow, his peaceful reverie shattered. He had always enjoyed the camaraderie of his fellow veterans, many of whom had motorcycles themselves, their bikes a symbol of freedom and adventure. But these bikers, with their aggressive demeanor, their disregard for the peace and quiet of his neighborhood, their blatant disregard for the rules of the road, were a different breed altogether. The next day, as Artie was taking his daily walk, his pace slow but steady, his cane tapping a rhythmic beat on the sidewalk, he encountered the bikers again. They were parked outside the local diner, their motorcycles sprawled across the sidewalk like metal behemoths, their chrome gleaming menacingly in the midday sun. Their presence, a blatant disregard for pedestrian rights, forced Artie and other passersby to walk on the street, dodging cars and risking their safety. Artie, a man of principle and unwavering politeness, approached the bikers, his cane tapping a gentle rhythm on the pavement. "Excuse me, gentlemen," he said, his voice firm but courteous. "Would you mind moving your motorcycles off the sidewalk? It's rather difficult for people to pass." The bikers, their faces obscured by helmets and their bodies clad in leather armor, turned to face Artie, their expressions a mixture of amusement and contempt. "Get lost, old man." One of them sneered, his voice dripping with disdain, his words echoing the arrogance of youth and the disregard for authority that seemed to define their group. Artie, unfazed by their taunts, his spine as straight as a soldier on parade, stood his ground. "This is a public sidewalk," he said firmly, his voice surprisingly strong for his age, the years of commanding troops and facing down enemies still resonating in his tone. "You need to move your motorcycles so people can pass safely." The bikers, amused by his defiance, their arrogance fueled by their numbers and their perceived power, revved their engines, the deafening noise reverberating through the street, a blatant attempt to intimidate the elderly veteran. But Artie stood firm, his gaze unwavering, his spirit unyielding. He had faced down enemy fire, endured the hardships of war, and stared death in the face. He would not be intimidated by a group of young punks on motorcycles. After a tense standoff, the bikers, sensing the unwavering resolve in Artie's eyes, the quiet dignity that radiated from his frail frame, reluctantly moved their motorcycles, muttering curses under their breath, their bravado momentarily deflated. Artie, his heart pounding from the confrontation, his cane tapping a triumphant rhythm on the pavement, continued his walk, his head held high, his spirit undimmed. He was shaken by the bikers' aggression, their blatant disregard for the law and the safety of others, their disrespect for an elderly veteran who had served his country with honor. But he was also proud of himself for standing up to them, for refusing to be intimidated, for demonstrating the courage and resilience that had defined his life. He had served his country with courage and honor, facing down enemies on foreign soil, risking his life for the freedoms that these young men now took for granted. He would not let a group of bullies, their arrogance fueled by ignorance and a misplaced sense of power, intimidate him now. He would not let them tarnish the peace and tranquility of his community, the sanctuary he had returned to after the horrors of war. Later that evening, as Artie settled into his favorite armchair, the soft glow of the television illuminating his living room, he saw a news report that sent a chill down his spine. The report detailed a recent incident in a neighboring town where a group of veterans, all elderly men who had served their country with distinction, had been harassed and intimidated by a biker gang. The veterans, members of a local motorcycle club, had been riding their bikes through the town, their leather jackets adorned with medals and patches commemorating their service, when they were stopped by a group of bikers, their appearance menacing, their attitudes aggressive. The bikers had blocked the road, forcing the veterans to stop, and then proceeded to taunt and threaten them, their words laced with disrespect and disdain for the older men's service. Artie watched the report, his heart heavy with anger and sadness. He couldn't believe that these young men, who owed their freedom and safety to the sacrifices of these veterans, would treat them with such disrespect. He felt a surge of solidarity with the veterans in the report, their shared experiences of war and camaraderie creating an invisible bond that transcended time and distance. He knew he had to do something, to take a stand against this injustice, to protect his fellow veterans and the community he loved. He couldn't let these bullies, their arrogance fueled by ignorance and a thirst for power, terrorize innocent people and tarnish the sacrifices of those who had served their country. The next morning, Artie, his resolve strengthened by the news report and his own encounter with the bikers, called the local police station. He reported the incident at the diner, describing the bikers' aggressive behavior, their disrespectful treatment of him, and their blatant disregard for the law. He provided detailed descriptions of the bikers, their motorcycles, and their intimidating tactics, hoping that his information would help the police identify and apprehend these individuals. The police officer who took his report thanked Artie for his information, assuring him that they would investigate the matter and take appropriate action. Artie, though relieved to have reported the incident, knew that he couldn't simply sit back and wait for the police to take action. He felt a sense of responsibility, a duty to protect his community and his fellow veterans from these bullies. He decided to take his concerns to the next level, to bring the issue to the attention of the town council, to raise awareness about the biker gang's activities and their harassment of veterans and elderly residents. He wanted to ensure that the town took proactive measures to protect its citizens, to send a clear message that such behavior would not be tolerated. Artie, a man who had faced down enemy fire without flinching, now found himself facing a different kind of battle, a battle against injustice and apathy. He decided to attend the next town council meeting, to stand before the council members and voice his concerns, to advocate for the safety and well-being of his community. He spent days preparing a short speech, carefully crafting his words, his voice trembling not with fear, but with the weight of his responsibility, the urgency of his message. He detailed his own encounter with the bikers, their arrogance, their aggression, their blatant disregard for the law and the safety of others. He spoke of the news report, the veterans harassed and intimidated, their service to their country met with disrespect and disdain. He expressed his concern for the safety of his fellow citizens, the elderly residents who were afraid to walk the streets, the families who felt threatened by the bikers' presence. He urged the council to take action, to address this growing threat to their peaceful community, to protect its citizens from these bullies who seemed to operate with impunity. He spoke with passion and conviction, his voice echoing through the council chambers, his words carrying the weight of his experience, his wisdom, and his unwavering commitment to his community. His speech was met with a stunned silence, the council members and attendees momentarily speechless, their complacency shaken by Artie's powerful words. Then, a wave of applause erupted, filling the room with a resounding affirmation of his message, a collective recognition of the urgency of the situation. The council members, their eyes opened to the reality of the biker gang's activities, their complacency shattered by Artie's courageous stand, thanked him for his bravery and assured him that they would take his concerns seriously. They promised to investigate the matter, to increase police presence in the community, and to take all necessary measures to ensure the safety and security of their citizens. The local newspaper, eager to capitalize on the story of the elderly veteran who had dared to challenge the status quo, published an article about Artie's speech, praising him for his bravery, his commitment to his community, and his unwavering spirit. The article, accompanied by a picture of Artie standing tall before the council members, his eyes filled with determination, his voice ringing with conviction, sparked a wave of support for the veteran and his cause. Artie, once a quiet and unassuming member of the community, his life defined by routine and his wartime experiences fading into the distant past, found himself thrust into the spotlight. He became a local hero, his courage and determination inspiring his neighbors, his voice giving voice to their fears and concerns. The consequences of his decision to speak out were far-reaching, rippling through the community and beyond. His actions sparked a wave of awareness, a collective recognition of the need to address the biker gang's activities and protect the vulnerable members of their community. But his actions also had personal consequences. He became a target for the biker gang's anger, their resentment fueled by his defiance and his role in bringing their activities to the attention of the authorities. He received threatening phone calls, his mailbox was vandalized, and he was followed by bikers on several occasions, their menacing presence a constant reminder of the risks he had taken. Despite the threats and intimidation, Artie refused to back down. He had faced down enemies on the battlefield, endured hardships that would have broken lesser men, and emerged from the crucible of war with an unwavering spirit. He would not be intimidated by a group of bullies, their power rooted in fear and intimidation. He continued to speak out, his voice growing stronger with each public appearance, his message resonating with the community, his courage inspiring others to stand up for what is right. He became a symbol of resilience, a beacon of hope in a community that had been shrouded in fear. The police, spurred into action by Artie's report and the public outcry that followed his speech at the town council meeting, launched a full-scale investigation into the biker gang's activities. They increased patrols in the community, interviewed witnesses, and gathered evidence of the gang's illegal activities. Their investigation revealed that the biker gang, known as the Iron Vipers, was involved in a wide range of criminal activities, including drug trafficking, extortion, and intimidation. They had been using their menacing presence and aggressive tactics to terrorize local businesses, forcing them to pay protection money and intimidating residents into silence. The police discovered that the gang's leader, a notorious criminal known as Viper, had a long history of violence and criminal activity. He had been arrested on numerous occasions, but had always managed to evade serious charges. his influence and connections within the criminal underworld protecting him from the full force of the law. The police, determined to bring Viper and his gang to justice, intensified their investigation, gathering evidence of their illegal activities, tracking their movements, and building a case that would ensure their arrest and prosecution. They worked tirelessly, their dedication fueled by Artie's courage and the community's unwavering support. They discovered that the Iron Vipers were using a dilapidated warehouse on the outskirts of town as their clubhouse, a place where they gathered to plan their criminal activities, store their illegal goods, and intimidate those who dared to cross them. The warehouse, a symbol of the gang's power and influence, became the focus of the police investigation. The police, with the help of information provided by Artie and other residents who had been victimized by the gang, gathered enough evidence to obtain a warrant for the arrest of Viper and his gang members. They planned a raid on the warehouse, determined to apprehend the criminals and bring an end to their reign of terror. The raid, a carefully orchestrated operation involving a SWAT team and a large contingent of police officers, was planned for a Friday night, when the gang was known to gather at their clubhouse. The police, armed with their warrant and their determination to protect their community, prepared to confront the Iron Vipers, their resolve strengthened by the knowledge that they were not just upholding the law, but also fulfilling the hopes and expectations of the community they served. In the wake of his speech at the town council meeting and the subsequent media attention, Artie became a local hero, his courage and determination inspiring his neighbors, his voice giving voice to their fears and concerns. He was no longer just a quiet and unassuming old man, but a symbol of resilience, a beacon of hope in a community that had been shrouded in fear. His neighbors, who had once seen him as a friendly but private individual, now regarded him with newfound respect and admiration. They thanked him for his courage, his willingness to stand up to the biker gang and bring their activities to the attention of the authorities. They expressed their gratitude for his efforts to protect the community, his voice giving them the courage to speak out against the injustices they had witnessed. Artie, who had always been a private and independent person, content with his routine and his solitary pursuits, found himself embraced by the community. He was invited to social gatherings, his neighbors bringing him meals, offering assistance with his errands, and sharing their stories and concerns with him. He was no longer just Artie, the quiet veteran who lived at the end of the street. He was Artie, the hero, the man who had dared to challenge the status quo, the voice of the community, the symbol of their resilience. Artie, touched by their kindness and support, their genuine concern for his well-being, began to open up, sharing stories of his wartime experiences. His long life filled with joys and sorrows, triumphs and setbacks. He spoke of the camaraderie he had experienced in the army, the bonds of brotherhood forged in the fires of adversity, the sacrifices made by his fellow soldiers. He shared his wisdom, his insights into human nature, his unwavering belief in the goodness of people, even in the face of darkness and despair. He spoke of the importance of courage, resilience, and service to others, his words resonating with his neighbors, inspiring them to face their own challenges with renewed determination. Artie, once a solitary figure, content with his own company and his quiet pursuits, found himself at the center of a community, his life intertwined with the lives of his neighbors, his experiences and wisdom enriching their lives, their support and affection filling his heart with warmth and gratitude. He formed deep and meaningful connections with his neighbors, sharing their joys and sorrows, their hopes and fears. He became a confidant, a mentor, a friend, his presence a source of comfort and strength in a community that had been shaken by fear and uncertainty. His relationship with his neighbors transformed from one of polite distance to one of deep connection and mutual respect. He was no longer just a resident of Elm Street, but a vital part of its fabric, his life interwoven with the lives of those around him, his presence a reminder of the strength and resilience of the human spirit. The tension in the town was palpable as Friday night approached. The news of the impending police raid on the Iron Vipers clubhouse had spread like wildfire, a mixture of anticipation and apprehension hanging heavy in the air. Residents, eager for an end to the biker gang's reign of terror, remained indoors, their curtains drawn, their lights dimmed, as if trying to make themselves invisible to the impending storm. The police operation, meticulously planned and executed with military precision, unfolded under the cover of darkness. The streets surrounding the dilapidated warehouse, usually deserted at this late hour, were now teeming with police vehicles, their flashing lights casting an eerie glow on the surrounding buildings. A SWAT team, clad in black tactical gear, their faces obscured by masks, silently surrounded the warehouse, their weapons at the ready. Under the command of their leader, a seasoned officer with nerves of steel, they prepared to breach the building, their movements swift and silent, their training honed to perfection. Inside the warehouse, the Iron Vipers were gathered, their laughter and boisterous conversations echoing through the cavernous space. Viper, his imposing figure adorned with tattoos and scars, held court, his voice booming with authority as he outlined their latest scheme, a plan to extort money from a local businessman who had dared to defy their demands. Unaware of the impending raid, the bikers reveled in their perceived power, their arrogance fueled by alcohol and their past successes in intimidating the town's residents. They boasted of their exploits, their laughter echoing through the warehouse, their bravado a testament to their ignorance of the forces gathering outside. The SWAT team, their signal received, breached the warehouse with a coordinated burst of action, their movements swift and decisive. The doors flew open, the sound of shattering glass echoing through the space, followed by the deafening roar of the officers' commands, their voices amplified by megaphones. "Police! Everyone get down on the ground. Hands where we can see them." The bikers, their revelry abruptly interrupted, their bravado shattered by the sudden intrusion, froze in place, their eyes wide with shock and disbelief. Viper, his face contorted in anger, reached for his weapon, but the SWAT team was faster. A flashbang grenade exploded, its blinding light and deafening blast disorienting the bikers. Their senses overwhelmed, their movements slowed. The SWAT team swarmed the warehouse, their weapons trained on the stunned bikers, their commands echoing through the space. "Get down! Now!" The bikers, their resistance futile, their arrogance replaced by fear, complied, dropping to the ground, their hands raised in surrender. Viper, his attempt to resist thwarted, was tackled to the ground. His weapon wrestled from his grasp, his reign of terror brought to an abrupt end. The raid was a resounding success. The Iron Vipers apprehended without a single shot fired, their reign of terror brought to an end by the coordinated efforts of the police and the unwavering support of the community. The warehouse, once a symbol of the biker gang's power and intimidation, was now a scene of defeat, its walls echoing with the silence of surrender. The news of the successful raid spread through the town like a wave of relief, residents emerging from their self-imposed isolation, their faces lit by a mixture of joy and gratitude. The streets, once deserted, were now filled with people, their voices raised in celebration, their spirits lifted by the knowledge that their town was once again safe. With Viper and his gang behind bars, their reign of terror brought to an abrupt end, the town of Elmwood breathed a collective sigh of relief. The streets, once haunted by the roar of motorcycles and the menacing presence of the Iron Vipers, were now filled with the sounds of children playing, families strolling, and neighbors chatting, their voices carrying a newfound sense of freedom and security. The fear that had gripped the community for so long dissipated like a morning mist, replaced by a sense of hope and optimism. Residents emerged from their self-imposed isolation, their doors opening, their smiles returning, their voices joining in a chorus of gratitude and celebration. Artie, hailed as a hero, the catalyst for the town's liberation from the biker gang's tyranny, basked in the warmth of the community's appreciation. He was no longer just a quiet veteran, but a symbol of courage and resilience, his actions inspiring others to stand up for what is right, to challenge injustice, and to reclaim their community. He received countless expressions of gratitude, his mailbox overflowing with cards and letters thanking him for his bravery, his phone ringing constantly with calls from neighbors eager to express their appreciation. He was invited to countless gatherings, his presence sought after, his stories eagerly listened to, his wisdom valued and respected. The town council, eager to acknowledge Artie's contribution to the community, organized a special ceremony in his honor. The town square, decorated with flags and banners, was filled with residents, their faces beaming with pride and gratitude. Artie, standing tall despite his age, his chest adorned with his wartime medals, was presented with a plaque commemorating his bravery and his unwavering commitment to his community. The mayor, his voice filled with emotion, praised Artie's courage, his actions inspiring not only the residents of Elmwood but also people across the country who had heard his story. Artie Henderson, the mayor declared, his voice echoing through the square. You are a true American hero, a shining example of courage, resilience, and community spirit. Your actions have not only liberated our town from the grip of fear, but have also inspired us all to stand up for what is right, to protect our community, and to never give up hope. The crowd erupted in applause, their cheers echoing through the square. Their appreciation for Artie's courage and selflessness palpable. Artie, his eyes filled with tears of gratitude, accepted the plaque, his heart overflowing with the warmth of the community's embrace. The ceremony marked a turning point for Elmwood, a symbolic closure to a dark chapter in its history. The town, once divided by fear and intimidated into silence, was now united in its gratitude for Artie's bravery and its determination to build a stronger, more resilient community. The police, their efforts vindicated by the successful raid and the community's outpouring of support, continued their work, ensuring that the Iron Viper's reign of terror was truly over. They increased their presence in the community, their patrols a reassuring sight, their interactions with residents marked by respect and understanding. They worked with community leaders to implement programs aimed at preventing future incidents, educating young people about the dangers of gangs and violence, and fostering a culture of respect and cooperation. They were no longer just enforcers of the law, but partners in building a safer, more harmonious community. The conflict with the Iron Vipers had been resolved, but its impact on Elmwood was profound and lasting. The town had emerged from the crucible of fear stronger and more united, its residents bound by a shared experience, their resilience forged in the fires of adversity. The incident with the bikers, though initially a source of fear and anxiety, had awakened a dormant passion within Artie, a renewed sense of purpose that propelled him in a new direction. He realized that even in his twilight years, he could still make a difference in the world. His experiences, his wisdom, and his unwavering spirit a valuable asset to his community and beyond. He decided to dedicate his remaining years to helping others, to sharing his stories, his experiences, and his wisdom with those who could benefit from them. He volunteered at the local Veterans Hospital, his presence a comforting beacon to those who had served their country, his stories a source of inspiration and camaraderie. He spent countless hours with veterans of different wars, listening to their stories, sharing his own experiences, and offering a shoulder to lean on. He understood the challenges they faced, the physical and emotional scars they carried, the struggles to reintegrate into civilian life after the horrors of war. He offered them companionship, understanding, and a listening ear, his presence a reminder that they were not alone, that their sacrifices were valued, and that their experiences, though painful, had shaped them into the resilient individuals they were. He also began visiting schools, his wartime medals gleaming on his chest, his eyes twinkling with mischief and wisdom. He spoke to students about the importance of courage, resilience, and service to others, his stories captivating his young audience, his message resonating with their youthful idealism. He shared his experiences of war, the hardships he had endured, the sacrifices he had witnessed, and the bonds of brotherhood that had sustained him through the darkest of times. He spoke of the importance of standing up for what is right, of defending the values they believed in, of using their voices to make a difference in the world. His stories, delivered with passion and humor, captivated his young audience, his message of courage and resilience inspiring them to face their own challenges with determination and optimism. He became a role model, a mentor, a living testament to the enduring power of the human spirit. Artie, once a quiet and unassuming veteran, content with his routine and his solitary pursuits, had found a new purpose, a new direction that filled his life with meaning and fulfillment. He was no longer just a survivor of war, but a beacon of hope, a source of inspiration, and a living testament to the transformative power of service to others. Artie, sitting on his porch swing, the gentle creak a familiar lullaby, the setting sun painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, reflected on the transformative journey he had undertaken. The encounter with the bikers, the fear, the anger, the confrontation, had all served as catalysts for growth, pushing him out of his comfort zone and into a new chapter of his life. He had faced his own mortality, his vulnerability in the face of aggression, and emerged stronger, more resilient, and more determined than ever to make a difference in the world. He had rediscovered the power of his voice, the impact he could have on others, the legacy he could leave behind. He had learned that age was not a barrier to courage, that even in his twilight years, he could still stand up for what is right, challenge injustice, and inspire others to do the same. He had learned that his experiences, his wisdom, and his unwavering spirit were valuable assets, gifts to be shared with those who needed them. He had learned the importance of community, the power of connection, the strength that comes from standing together in the face of adversity. He had learned that even the smallest act of kindness, the simplest gesture of support, could have a profound impact on the lives of others. He had learned that his life, though filled with challenges and setbacks, had been a life well lived, a tapestry woven with threads of courage, resilience, and compassion. He had learned that his legacy would not be defined by his wartime experiences, but by his unwavering commitment to service, his dedication to his community, and his unwavering belief in the goodness of humanity. He regretted the fear he had felt, the moments of doubt and vulnerability that had plagued him during the biker gang's reign of terror. But he also recognized that those moments had served a purpose, pushing him to confront his own limitations, to rediscover his inner strength, and to emerge from the crucible of adversity a stronger, more compassionate individual. He was grateful for the challenges he had faced, the lessons he had learned, the growth he had experienced. He was grateful for the community that had embraced him, the neighbors who had supported him, the friends who had shared his journey. He was grateful for the opportunity to make a difference, to leave a positive mark on the world, to inspire others with his story of courage and resilience. He was grateful for the life he had lived, the experiences he had had, the people he had met, and the lessons he had learned. Artie, once a quiet and unassuming veteran, content with his routine and his solitary pursuits, had become a beacon of hope, a source of inspiration, and a living testament to the enduring power of the human spirit. He had found a new purpose, a new direction that filled his life with meaning and fulfillment. Artie's story is a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit, the courage to stand up for what is right, and the resilience to overcome adversity. It is a reminder that age is no barrier to making a difference in the world, that even the smallest among us can inspire change and leave a lasting legacy. His encounter with the bikers, though initially a source of fear and intimidation, ultimately led to his empowerment and his renewed sense of purpose. He rediscovered his voice, his courage, and his unwavering commitment to service, inspiring his community and leaving a lasting impact on the lives of those around him. Artie's story is a celebration of the human spirit's ability to overcome challenges, to find strength in adversity, and to emerge from the crucible of life stronger and more compassionate. It is a reminder that even in the face of darkness, there is always hope, and that even the smallest act of bravery can have a ripple effect, inspiring others and making the world a better place. His story highlights the importance of community, the power of connection, and the strength that comes from standing together in the face of adversity. It is a reminder that we are not alone in our struggles, that there are others who care, and that together, we can overcome any challenge. Artie's story is a beacon of hope, a source of inspiration, and a reminder that it is never too late to make a difference in the world. His legacy will live on, not just in the hearts of those who knew him, but in the countless lives he touched with his kindness, his courage, and his unwavering belief in the goodness of humanity. His story is a testament to the transformative power of service, the fulfillment that comes from helping others, and the enduring impact we can have on the world around us. It is a reminder that our lives are not just about what we achieve, but about how we touch the lives of others, the legacy we leave behind, and the positive change we inspire. Artie's story is a celebration of life, a reminder that every day is a gift, and that even in our twilight years, we can still find purpose, meaning, and fulfillment. It is a story that will continue to inspire generations to come, a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit and the transformative potential of courage, resilience, and compassion.